is Shafa and I'll be presenting my it202 project, which is an API project that I use an Instagram API, and I've called it Instagram Insights. And so essentially what this page does is you can fetch data about an Instagram post, its username, caption, likes, comments, the URL to the post, stuff like that. So I'm going to walk you through the features of my application, and this application pulls data from an external API and allows users to interact and manage that data. It involves user registration, login, role management, and data creation. And I'll show you how users can interact with data and explain how everything works behind the scenes. So first we have the registration process. You can begin by making an account. The first issue I'd like to mention is that the localhost page that I ran for my server, it looks a little different than the one that was deployed to Heroku, as you can see that CSS is different. This is an issue in either the browser needing to be refreshed, or I need to open it on a private browser, or something is up with the functions.php. But that was one issue that I had to look into. But anyways, so you can fill this out, and say for example I put in passwords that don't match, it'll give me that error message. But anyways, here we have a simple registration form where users provide their email, username, password, and they have to confirm the password. The email is required and validated to ensure it's unique. So if you put in something that's not a valid email, it'll give you that error message. And the password has to be at least 8 characters long. Password has to be at least 8 characters long. So if the password doesn't match either, it'll let me fix this. It'll give you an error. So if any of the fields are incorrect or missing, we provide user-friendly error messages to let them know. For example, if the email is already taken, the user will be notified, and if the registration is successful, they'll be logged in and directed to the landing page. So after registering, users can log in with either their email or username, and I've implemented login validation so that if the credentials don't match or the account doesn't exist, an appropriate message is shown. After successful login, the user is redirected to the landing page, which is protected and only accessible to logged in users. Then once you are logged in, you can move on to creating the data, and it's where you manually enter data or fetch data from the API. And so by using the Instagram API to fetch post details, you can the form would be populated with various fields like post title, description, and media information. After entering, the user can submit it, and it is saved in the database. So for the data list page, once the data is created, it's going to be displayed on the data list page, and that's where you can filter and sort the data. For example, users can filter by post, description, or by media type, and we also allow sorting by creation date or any other criteria. And on the details page, you would also have the option to delete the entity. So only admins would be allowed to delete data, however, and if the user tries to delete data that they don't have permission for, they're going to see an error message, because there's certain permissions and roles, and admins have additional access to manage the user and roles. So to get into more detail about each page, so The registration and login, it happens through the register.php and their details are securely stored in the database. I guess I can show the database over here. Over here we can see the database, and external API requests are managed through API underscore helper.php, and that abstracts the seed URL for operations like get, post, and other methods. API keys are securely loaded from environment variables, and so what would happen is the user registers, logs in, and performs a sample GET request to an external API, and that's all part of milestone 1. And then milestone 2 was about the role-based permissions, and this is where the users can create, view, and edit API data, and their role-based access features were implemented. And milestone 3 is where there were user associations and administration features implemented. So I'd like to talk a little bit about the features that are not working and I was having trouble with. And the first would be API-based question management, and so that would, API-based requests. So sometimes they would fail due to inconsistent data formatting from the external source. And another issue I was having was with admins assigning roles through the PHP page because it does not always reflect the data as it updates in real time. And for the broker associations, I was not able to get that work either because they are supposedly supposed to be linked to user accounts to allow user-specific data associations, but the flash messages for those errors were not displaying correctly. So this project for me highlighted the importance of error handling when interacting with external APIs and databases, and the issues that I had, I can work on those through detailed debugging and testing, and implementing flash messages and session-based data validation provided valuable insights into improving user feedback and mechanisms. Thank you for listening.